This is Wild West. And this is the West that's even wilder.
It is not surprising that 1967's Don't Make Waves was a box office failure.
Don't make waves.
Make love.
What will surprise you is that this kind of marketing was thought to be a sure thing.
Take the plunge.
Let's take a look at what this tagline was copying. When 10,000 biceps go around 5,000 bikinis, you know what's gonna happen.
Where the girls are bearing, the boys are daring, and the serfs are raring to go, go, go.
It's where the he's meet the she's on skis, and there's only one way to get warm.
I give you the strangest subgenre that dominated cinemas in the 1960s. These could be called musicals in the sense that characters sang a few times. They could be considered romance, since there was an absurd amount of coupling up, and you could call them comedies, as these moments were meant to be funny.
Do you know about the birds and the bees?
No.
Well, I better get out of here, or you're gonna find out.
But the beach party movies existed in their own goofy, light-hearted little niche.
Right blanket.
Wrong man.
American International Pictures can be thanked for this. While there were obvious forerunners, 1963's Beach Party got the ball rolling.
Beach party tonight.
Shot quickly over 3 weeks with a low budget between $200,000 and $300,000, it became AIP's highest-grossing film.
Don't stop now. Don't stop now.
Over the next 4 years, they released 11 sequels featuring mostly the same cast and the same concept. And teenagers lapped this up. Unlike, say, a Clueless or 10 Things I Hate About You, which were made to appeal to teens and still had lots of substance that endures today, the beach films were pure escapism. Frankie and Dede, sometimes Dolores or Connie, were quintessential escapist characters.
I didn't catch your name, boy.
I didn't throw it.
Frankie was the good-looking leader of his friend group, always ready to one-up the uncool adults or antagonists, and had multiple women fighting over him.
Bonnie, you may have turned it on automatic pilot, but I'm not on the same switch.
Dede was pretty and fashionable, and while rebellious in challenging the men's chauvinism,
Women have a few rights in case you haven't heard. We can even vote.
it was always in a safe, marketable way. And at the end of the day, her main ambition was for Frankie to marry her.
I think love means a wedding ring.
I could talk about how their will they, won't they plot is a bit yikes by today's standards,
I was such a fool to treat him so cruel.
but it's best to get a woman's perspective on that.
I swear to God, Frankie be treating women like they're just a bunch of baseball cards. Like he's just trading them in constantly. And no one's even questioning it. Why? There was a part in the film when Dede was singing, I think I might have lost him. Good! It's good you lost him. You deserve much better than Frankie. Lose the shish kebab. Get yourself a real man who actually will care for you. Actually, better yet, be single. Be single and happy. You don't need a man like Frankie. The guy just ain't got enough of the rocks to rock and roll.
If we remind ourselves that the 60s was a time of huge social change in the world, then watching the beach films is an even more surreal experience.
Why me? Why me all the time?
These stories did not reflect the world as it really was, but rather a reality that exists on its own wavelength, pardon the pun.
Well, that's life.
Although there is teenage rebellion, there's no drinking or drugs, and sex is implied but never shown.
Why don't you jump down here? I'll guarantee you a happy landing.
I'd rather jump out of an airplane without a parachute.
Either way, you get to heaven.
The world of the beach party films reinforces mostly conservative values, or the popular term,
Good, clean fun.
we can make as much fun of this as we want. And boy is it easy to. But remember, AIP made 12 of these, and other studios tried to capitalize in a perfect demonstration of how Hollywood often operates.
Oops, my bad.
Going back to Clueless, It was a surprise hit that revived the teen movie in the 90s. Rather than noting the well-written screenplay, memorable performances, or appealing aesthetic, their logic was that it was a setting update of Jane Austen's Emma, so high school versions of classic literature had to be in. With the beach movies, it was the same deal. Ignoring the uniqueness of the original Beach Party, or the overall last hurrah feeling that hangs over it, brought us to 1967 and Don't Make Waves.
Don't make waves. Don't make waves.
Make love.
It was not the film that killed the genre, but it was one of many that confirmed it was the end of an era.
Man, how do you stand it?
Stand what?
Being the greatest, how do you stand it?
I should note that while I will always enjoy making fun of the beach movies, I usually do so affectionately.
You remind me of the ocean.
You mean I'm so deep?
No, you make me sick.
They may be a product of their era, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing.
I'd like to see us slip out of something tight and into something more comfortable, like my arms.
The 60s were a time where this cheesy goofiness was all the rage, and the beach movies perfectly capture that.
You make it sound good.
For a young person in the 60s worried about the state of the world, a set of films produced solely as escapism were clearly exactly what they needed. And hey, there's nothing wrong with good, clean fun. Hey Tonglers, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more exclusive Tongal content. And if you're a creator, be sure to visit the Tongal website at tongal.com for some exciting opportunities.